Today on the Changeville podcast, we're talking to Joshua James. Joshua James is an independent singer-songwriter living in American Fork, Utah. Since 2006, he's released multiple EPs and 6 albums, including 2017's My Spirit Sister. He runs a record label, as well as the Williamette MTN Farm Studio. Joshua is passionate about sustainable agriculture and food systems and is constantly striving to become self-sufficient, living off the land. Jennifer Vito recently got to sit down and talk with him at the High Dive in downtown Gainesville before his show there, and this is that conversation. And all of the music that you'll hear this week was actually recorded at his show at the High Dive.
So we're here with singer-songwriter Joshua James for the Changeville podcast. So you work with sustainable agriculture. Can you tell us a little about that and what connected you to those issues?
Sustainable agriculture? Do I? Does that mean like my garden type things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I suppose I do in that regard. I mean, we're definitely not completely self-sustaining, but me and my family keep certain types of animals to avoid having to go to the store too often, and also grow a very large garden. So the summertime consists of a lot of planting, harvesting. We keep goats, we keep chickens and turkeys and honeybees, and kind of like a farm, for lack of a better term. It's a very small farm, a humble farm, a homestead if you will, but and I guess that started probably 6 years ago or so, and me and my lady just really took a liking to it, and I really enjoy knowing the whole process that goes into my food, and not having to guess that there's no poisons on, I'm non-carnivorous, so I don't worry about meat so much, but vegetables and fruits, all the wild things that they put on them and in them, as the organism is modified. So yeah, I guess that was kind of what turned us on originally.
Yeah, just learning about that stuff, and then you wanted to do something about it. So how has that influenced the way that you interact with the world? Like, how do you incorporate that into your diet on tour?
Oh man, diet on tour, that's a whole twist.
Isn't
I mean,
it
I'm
hard
very it is, but not as hard as it used to be, because I've been touring now for 9 years, and early on, first off, I didn't give as much interest to my health, and second off, I just didn't give much thought to my dollar, my vote, where I was spending my dollar, right? And so it was one of those things where, as years kind of started passing, and I had children 4 years ago, so I have 2 kids, 4 and 2, and that really kind of started to make my mind, I mean, I had already been pretty health conscious, and on the road it can be difficult, but it's very much not unavoidable to, avoid eating bad. In fact, I feel like on the road I almost do better than I do at home at this point, because I'm so kind of trained. I always have certain types of foods packed, like I was mentioning to you earlier. We went to Trader Joe's, and I buy 3 heads of romaine lettuce, I buy carrots, I buy hummus, I'll buy sweet potatoes, and then the trick with the sweet potatoes is basically, if you go to like a really nice gas station, you can cook the sweet potato in the microwave, and then they have that salsa bar. So like you're saving money. I mean, maybe sometimes the salsa bar is a bit dicey, but it's so cheap. Trader Joe's 49 cents for a sweet potato. You cook it in the microwave and you have a meal. Because they have the bunions and the tomatoes and the salsa, yada yada yada. So I guess like to incorporate that type of thing into road life or tour life, if you will, that's kind of how I do it, and definitely we don't eat, I definitely don't eat, fast food at home or on the road, so it makes it a lot easier when you're not, it actually makes it a lot easier when you're non-carnivorous to like, a lot of fast food revolves around animal meat, so you don't eat that, it's kind of even hard to eat fast food, So, anyhow, that's kind of how I've implemented it into my life.
That's great that you're able to keep that up on the road.
Yeah.
So you have a studio that's on a farm?
Yeah, so it's the one and the same. The one I was explaining to you earlier is my studio is at my homestead or my home, and it's the whole top part of our house is our recording studio. And it's been a very, very long work in progress over the last 6 years, but it's finally over this last year kind of got to a point where it feels, almost like a second entity from the regular part of the house, and that was kind of our hope with it. And so we do a lot of records, and did our last record there. I do.
There?
Yeah. So
what is that experience like for them to come there at the intersection of the farm and the studio?
Yeah, and it's funny. I mean, I try to kind of incorporate the farm with the studio slightly. When people come out to record, it's oftentimes not local bands that record, so they fly in. Like this last, for example, band that came in, they flew in from Sweden. It was a Swedish band. They flew in, and then it's not like I wrote it in a contract or anything, but make them dinner from the farm garden. We play in the backyard with my little ones and the goats and the chickens, and try to kind of incorporate more. It's not like I'm not doing it out to have like a sales tactic. I enjoy the experience of creation and then experiencing creation. If that makes any sense, because making a record is a very creative process, and then it's labor intensive, and you're doing this thing, and then at the end of the day, it's like, let's go out back, and the sun's going down, and we can go out back and watch the sun fall and hang out with the animals, and it almost spawns more of those creative energies. At least I like to think so. And
really
so I kind of try to mix the two.
Yeah, aware of your connection to that ecosystem as a creator, and something that's been part of that. That's cool. So what, if any, issues do you feel are ingrained in your songwriting and your music, especially this current album?
In regards to what? In regards to the self-sustaining and such?
Yeah, or any
Probably,
social issues that you feel passionate about that have affected you?
Especially this last record, nothing that really comes to mind. I can't say that I sing about it all, I mean, I guess I sing a little bit about my farm, but it's more about that's my home, not so much like we are going to save the earth. There's nothing like that really that I'm doing.
Well, you don't always have to hit people over the head.
Yeah, well, and it's not even about that. It's kind of, for me, that's less of an issue than so many other things that I can sing about, because I feel it to be a bit more of a personal choice than what am I trying to say? A thing that all human beings should be following. Just because I don't necessarily think everyone should subscribe to my way of life, and so I think in that regard, I kind of avoid it, or don't even think to sing about it, I guess. So I can't say that my music really incorporates a lot of that, to be honest.
What would you say your music does incorporate, like a personal experience?
Very much so. I mean, kind of the human dilemma of being alive, the struggles of being alive, the struggles of growing old, the struggles of being in love, the struggles of death, what happens when we die, God, the mysterious, the unknown. That's kind of more what I lean toward, probably because it's just what I deal with on a personal level. So that's kind of more what I write from that area of life.
Nice. If the new album had a prologue, what, in terms of context, would you want new listeners to know going in?
There is a prologue to the new record that I wrote that you can read inside of the credits, but I will not quote it lest people steal it and not purchase the actual physical copy.
Yeah, check out that new album.
Yeah, buy the new
prologue.
record. Oh, wow. That's me as a salesman. I guess, kind of touching on the same kind of themes that we were just talking about. This record very much steers into matters of the heart, i.e. love, marriage, and the struggles that, at least in my human experience, are inevitably intertwined with those things. So that's really what almost the complete record is about. I've been married for 11 years, and as uncomfortable as it can seem and even be for me, I find that state of vulnerability is a very beautiful thing and almost like empowering thing. So the record kind of deals with that.
Yeah. How do you think artists can use their platforms to influence the world and social issues?
They can do a lot of things. I mean, look at so many of the bands and songwriters through the decades that have, helped raise awareness. Maybe not necessarily in the realm of food, but even in the realm of food, but political, like you mentioned.
Do you think it's more influential, like for you personally? Are you more influenced by when someone spells out like, this is what I think about these politics, or is it more like when you see someone and you like them or your art and you find out like, hey, they do this thing?
A mixture of both of those things, I think, because a lot of the songwriters of old that I look up to, Bob Dylan, Neil Young, definitely weren't bashful about it. They were very kind of right on the head type singers in some regards, and I think that can be a very powerful medium, and was a very powerful medium, and still is. But I also find that the quiet subtleties, and even like our parents always taught us, being the example, I think that is a very powerful thing, to see how someone lives their life and to feel like the energy of how they live their life and almost emulate, not necessarily copy, but just sort of maybe base a couple things or change a couple things in your life that you see, wow, look at how this person's doing it, and it seems to really be clicking. And I've been kind of kicking against the pricks, like they say in the Bible, in these types of issues. Maybe I should try on that, whether it's, for me it was vegetarianism years ago, reading this book called Eating Animals by Jonathan Safran Foer, and he talks about him starting into vegetarianism and why he did it, because for me it was always sort of trendy, maybe, to be honest. I think it was kind of like one of those things, and I stopped eating meat originally to avoid fast food on the road, but then it kind of became a bit more the way he approached it. I really felt akin to how he explained it, and decided to kind of give it a go again, and have really enjoyed that direction, in regards to consuming food.
Yeah, I think the why is really powerful for people, and also that intimate connection that artists and their fans have can be super influential.
Absolutely.
So, what are you listening to lately, or who are some of your favorite artists right now?
I've been absolutely in love with this man named Andy Schaaf out of Canada. He has a record called The Party, and I had purchased it on a recommendation, which I so often like doing, actually buying a physical copy of a record, because I've spent money on it and it makes me give it a listen, as opposed to it's on Spotify, take a listen. And if it's not immediate for me on something like that, like on a digital realm, it's hard for me to really dive into it. But because I had spent whatever it was, $20 on the LP, I listened to it, and by the third listen I was really attached. And then I saw him play in Salt Lake City and was just blown away by his musicality and performance. So I've been really into that record, and I always listen to a lot of George Jones, old country music. I've been listening to the new Hamilton Lighthouser, who's the singer for the Walkmen, and really like that record. And there are so many to really name, but those are a couple that I've been really into as of late.
Is there anything else you'd like to say to our Changeville listeners who might be interested in environmental practices and sustainable
Absolutely.
agriculture?
Buy a bike. Go buy a bike and ride your bike everywhere. We tour with bicycles, and so when we get to the town, we leave the van parked somewhere, and then we just bike to town. So like when we went to Trader Joe's today, we all went on bikes and picked up our groceries. And not only is it environmentally being aware and like conscious of emissions, but it's also just good for your body, and it's good for your mind, and it's good for everybody because you're happy and you're not pissed off because you're getting fresh air and sunshine. And so I'd say, if I could say anything, is before you buy my record, buy a bike. That's what I say.
Are you in any other projects or side projects musically?
Am I in any other side projects? I guess Timmy the Teeth. I play drums with Timmy the Teeth. Yeah.
Right
Who
on.
we're on tour right now, and this is the one show he's not playing.
Oh,
Yeah.
so you play other instruments?
Yeah, I do. I mean, kind of. I play the drums with him, and I try. I'm not as prolific as I am on the guitar, and then I kind of fiddle around on the piano and bass and really any instrument I can get my hands on, I kind of fiddle around on, but mostly guitar and a little bit of drums, I'd say.
You also enjoy audio technical stuff, like having your own
love
studio?
it. I dig it.
How does it feel to play some of the great songs that from past albums that maybe the way you felt when you were writing those songs isn't the place that you're in today? How does it feel to revisit those and so many people love them live?
Yeah, that's a great question. It really depends. Oftentimes, if I'm really not attached to it, I won't play it, regardless really of its popularity. Just because singing and music is such an emotional thing for me. Yes, I do it because I want people to enjoy the show and enjoy the songs, but I also very much am selfish as a person and want to also be fulfilled musically and emotionally when I play a show. So I'll oftentimes not play songs that I have no emotional connection to anymore. But as years pass on, songs started to kind of take different shapes, and that's a beautiful thing when that happens. And you apply it in different ways of your life. So
you just keep it sincere and
yeah.
Okay. Well, awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Of course, that was easy. Thank you so much. That was great, sister.
Thank you so much to our guest, Joshua James. We'll be back soon with another episode of the Changeville podcast. In case you missed it, we announced the dates for the next Changeville Festival. Mark your calendar for February 8th and 9th, 2018. Until next time, this is Brandon, signing out.